What is a system? You know, you hear people talk about systemic disadvantages or systemic racism. And usually when people say systemic disadvantages or racism don't exist, that's because they don't understand what a system is. I see shit like this.
But be specific. What law is systemically racist? Is there one?
It's really important to remember policy is a very important part of the system, but the laws and policy we have are not the entire system. I used to work as a systems engineer for almost 5 years on a military radar. My job was to take performance requirements on the radar, right? For example, your radar has to be able to detect this big of a target this far away, right? And so it was my job to take those and then go back to the processing and like the software of the radar and work on algorithms and processing that would achieve that performance. If the radar was not meeting that performance, it could be that the processing we said wasn't working as intended, but it could also be that it was working exactly as intended, but it wasn't achieving the desired result. If the system is not meeting the desired performance, that is a failure of the system, whether it's in the processing in the software or whether it's in how that software was implemented. Social issues and economic issues are the same way. Systemic disadvantages are not necessarily in the law or the policy. The system is everything from the actual writing of the policy to the implementation and results of that policy. The policy is analogous to the software in my radar example, right? You may have policy written out that says we need to do this, 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 and this. It may not call out race. It may not call out gender or sex. It may, but it also may not. But how that policy affects different groups of people differently is an important part of the whole system. There is no written law that says Black people have to get longer sentences in the criminal justice system in America than white people. But in the implementation of the criminal justice system, Black people get 13% longer sentences on average for the same crimes as white people. That's not the law itself, that's the implementation of the law. So this is an important distinction that I don't think people like Charlie Kirk always remember. And a lot of times laws can even be written in such a way that they know that they are going to affect different groups of people differently, right? Disproportionately affecting Black people, like mandatory minimum sentences on drug laws, or like things revolving around climate change, because climate change disproportionately affects Black communities. But as long as it doesn't say it, fascists and white supremacists like Charlie Kirk can continue to spout their nonsense.